Hey guys, this is Karthikeya Kantwal from Apex FinServe and we'll be doing the same roundup of things as usual, a couple of trades for tomorrow's trading session. But before that, I really hope you guys had a good green trading session because we sure did. Out of the 5 trades that we discussed yesterday, we had 4 triggers. One hit stop loss, which was IndusInd Bank, but the other 3 went on to give smooth targets, which were Apollo Hospitals, Just Dial, and SRT. PL did not trigger today. Apart from that, the indices that we discussed yesterday, bang on analysis, it did go our way. So it was a really a nice trading session. So 2 good trading sessions in a row. So the week is going pretty nicely. I hope the same goes for you as well. Now starting with the trades for tomorrow's trading session, the first one that we have is SRT. Now SRT, we told you guys yesterday, it is in formation of lower lows. Now it has made a lower low, but if you look at the last candle, that is a strong bullish engulfing, and in fact it has engulfed 2 of the previous selling candles. So that is a very strong sign of retracement. So the idea now is to take a long position for a small 1% target above the nearest resistance of 680. So we'll be going long on SRT at 680 with the stop loss going at 672 and the ideal targets at 1% as usual. Going on to the second script that we have, Apollo Hospitals. Now Apollo Hospitals, again we have a long position here as well. If you see, it has been forming higher high, higher lows pretty nicely. It is visibly clear. So we'll be taking a long position at 1430 with the stop loss going at 1415 and the ideal targets at 1%. Moving on to the next script, we have Just Dial. Now Just Dial, it is a pretty finicky script, but it really gave a good target today. So I'm pretty happy with it as of now. However, coming to the most recent leg of movement that has happened, so if you observe this up move, or if you observe this rise or retracement as you see of this move, so if you see, it has nearly equaled the previous high. So it's not really giving signs of a sustainable lower high structure. So we'll be going for a long position above the previous swing high break at 380 with the stop loss going at 375 and the ideal targets at 1%. Moving on to the next script that we have, PEL. Now PEL, again, this has been going up pretty nicely, and it has, I think it has seen its share of profit booking right now, and it should be going on its way up, because if you see the first 2 selling candles of this down move, they were really strong selling candles with almost open equal to high movement. But the same was not continued in the later half of the session, where it was pretty clear that the low is not being able to sustained by the sellers, and the buyers were continuously trying to push it up. So the idea on PEL now is to wait if it yet again crosses the resistance of 1400, which might also act as a psychological level of resistance. So we'll be initiating a long position only above 1400 and the stop loss going at 1380, ideal targets at 1% as usual. Then at the end we have IndusInd Bank. Now IndusInd Bank, again we are going to be taking a long position. We had a long position today as well, which hit the stop loss in the strong selling move, but we'll be taking a long pressure yet again. The reason being that if you see this selling pressure which has come, it has to see some retracement, and if we see a roughly 50% retracement, it also happens to be the crossing of an important resistance level or a small supply zone as you might call it. So we'll be taking a long position above that state level in case it might reverse and start forming higher highs and higher lows. So the trade on IndusInd is going to be 520 above longs, longs above 520, my bad, and the stop loss going at 512, ideal targets at 1%. Now keep in mind guys, a lot of trades that we discussed today, or rather 1 2 3 4 of these 5 trades are said to be bought above the levels and not at the levels. So these are the trades where we'll be putting in SLM orders and not the bracket orders. The only one with bracket order type for tomorrow is Apollo Hospitals. But as usual, put in your share of analysis as well before taking any of these positions. These these levels are just as per our analysis. They need not match with your levels. You might have different levels. Now moving on to the indexes that we have, or the indices that we have. The first one that we have is Nifty. Now Nifty, I told you guys, break of this range is going to be deciding the direction for the movement in Nifty. So it gave a very decisive break of this range today. Now this is what I mean by a range break. I told you guys yesterday that a gap up or a gap down does not validate a range break, and we observed that in the previous trading session. Today, the range was broken by distinct selling pressure in the open markets. Hence, a pullback again, short entry. So it was a very easy trading session for Nifty particularly if you go by the simple demand supply zone analysis. Now the thing is, if you observe this selling move, the retracement and the selling move, so this correction comparatively to the selling move that happened, roughly 40% correction, and then again 100% fall of the previous swing leg, classic textbook example of a good lower low lower rise structure. However, when the market bounced back in the evening session, this bounce back is visibly stronger. If you see this bounce back, it has been more than 50% of the previous swing leg, and beyond which the selling pressure could not be sustained, and this demand zone came into action again. So again, for tomorrow on Nifty, guys, trade the interaction of this zone, I would recommend, but trade it carefully, don't go into it blindly. Or if you want to be even conservative, trade the breakout of the zone, as I always say, and not necessarily every interaction. Coming to the option chain for Nifty, so on Nifty option chain, we have an interesting case here. So calls have been very aggressively written by the option writers. We have immediate resistance at 10,700 with 2.2 million added contracts. Now the funny thing is that is almost more than 70% of the total volume has been added only today on this particular strike. So very aggressive call writing by the writers. For your significant resistance, we have 10,800 with 1.6 million added contracts and 3.7 million total standing open interest, which again adds up to roughly doubling the number of contracts written, 1.6 to 3.7. 1.6 from total 3.7. Whereas on the support side of things, this aggressive kind of writing is not really visible. We have immediate support at 10,600 with 1.6 million total standing open interest, whereas the change has been on the negative side with 3,000 writers or 3,000 contracts being closed. So that is kind of finicky. With the significant support, we have 10,500 with 2.2 million open interest and 95,000 added contracts. So the put writers, they don't seem to be confident at all for some reason, because comparing it with the way calls have been written, the put writers seem completely out of strength or out of confidence, or they might simply be waiting. Who knows? When we come to the PCR of Nifty, PCR of volume, it comes to be at 0.93, again, which is in the bearish territory since 3 days, and it has been giving a nice fall. So the option buyers have been right for a change continuously. Let's see if this if this luck for them carries on for tomorrow as well. However, the writers seem to be on their side today as well, because as I said, comparing the position of call writers with respect to the put writers, call writers being very aggressive, put writers more or less running away from their positions. Coming to Bank Nifty, multiple zones in action as since a couple of days. I keep on telling you guys to take trades near the zones depending on the kind of price action that you witness in these areas. Now they have been acting as they should be acting. Supply is giving push down, demand is being broken. Instead of giving a bounce, it is being broken and then acting as supply. Now in Bank Nifty, I would personally advise to trade the breakout of this zone, 21,480, 21,500 if this happens. The reason being, again, as I said in Nifty, if you compare these moves, these swing legs that have happened, so compare this selling move with the retracement, roughly 45-50% visibly, and then again about 100% mimic of the leg 1 that we had. Then the second move that we had in the afternoon session, selling pressure was not sustained. So the lower high structure has been kind of botched up at this point, or not exactly invalidated, but definitely lacking strength. So if it is showing up move, this can be a pretty easy trade, 21,500 to 21,700. Even if it opens gap up and it comes down to fill the gap, take support at either of these levels, you can go for a quick 100, 150, 200 points. Pretty simple. Coming to the option chain for Bank Nifty, again we have a similar case with the call writers being pretty aggressive and the put writers running away. So we have immediate resistance at 21,500 with 380,000 added open interest and 401,000 total open interest. Now again, I tell you guys, as with Nifty, this particular strike more than 70% has been added in today's trading session. So very aggressively entered. And for the significant level of resistance, we have 22,000 with added 500,000 open interest and total 767,000 open interest. On the support side of things, we have 21,000, which is pretty close by. Now the change in open interest is positive, alright, 62,000 added open interest and 550,000 roughly total standing open interest. However, the thing is, on the call side, the total added open interest is more or less, more than half of the total standing open interest on the put side. So I don't know why, but put writers are simply not showing up to the party. For significant support, we have 2,500 or 20,500, which has some sort of strength visible fairly, with 226,000 added contracts and 436,000 total standing open interest. Now, generally, this much is all that we bring to the table every night. But however, there's a change of plans from now on. We'll be discussing some commodities and currency trades with you too. Now the thing is, we won't exactly be discussing trades as such like we do on equity, because these are running markets. Currency, you might say it closes at 5, but still the global markets are open, and we do tend to track them for the levels. So we have important levels plotted on the chart, but for the trade levels that we discussed on equity or similar levels, buy or sell levels, as per our analysis, you will have to check out the Telegram channel at the rate Apex Finserv tomorrow, because we'll be coming up with the levels maybe late in the night or early in the morning, and it won't be possible to add those in the video every day. So we'll be discussing important zones or important levels on the chart, and not the exact trades for commodities and currencies. For the exact trades, as I said, feel free to head to the Telegram channel. It's completely free. You might as well take a trip there. Who knows, you might find something of value. Now, for currency, we'll be discussing GBP INR. So we have 4 zones on the chart. Simple demand supply zones I have drawn. Now for tomorrow, we are going to be keeping an eye on these levels, either 94.29 or 94.3 or 94.75. The price action on either one of these levels is going to be giving a pretty nice trade. However, GBP INR, in my experience, it rewards a trend friendly method of trading. So keeping in mind the recent structure, lower highs, you can go for a pullback trade long here, or you can go for a short trade under this zone for a quick target of 94.1 or 94.15. Now coming to the commodity segment, we'll be discussing crude and silver. Now these are running markets, so we won't be discussing trades for today's segment. We'll be discussing possible levels for tomorrow's segment. Now the levels that I have drawn, alright, I had drawn these levels I think almost an hour or so ago, and they are already seem to be coming into action with the supply zone giving a push down. Alright, no worries. For tomorrow, crude, we'll preferably be tracking price action near this supply zone or slightly under this demand zone. Oh, my bad. Yeah, so we'll be tracking either at the supply or the demand, whichever triggers first, and what sort of strength is visible near our zones. For crude, honestly, it seems to be in a range. If you're looking at it from an intraday perspective, you might get some good ping pong trades, but that's it, unless it breaks strongly out of 3075 or on the downside of 2900. Other than that, there's not really much action going on here. Now coming to the last one that we have, silver. Now yes, before you ask, I'm using TradingView for silver because I don't know why. When I put silver chart on Zerodha, it simply would not let me draw my zones. The tool simply wasn't coming, so might as well shift. Now again with silver, 15 minutes time frame. Alright, my zones are coming into action again. Prices is respecting them fairly well. Alright, so we'll be tracking the price action that will happen tomorrow, either near the 52,800 level or near the 51,900 or 52,000 level. Now you might say this is a big range for silver, but honestly silver is pretty volatile. So 500-600 points either side, it won't really matter too much. Now for the exact trades on these three, you will need to check out the Telegram channel before 9 p.m. If you are regular watchers, so you know that we upload everything before 9 a.m. So the trades for these will be going there as well. So you can catch them there. Now do let me know whether or not you want the commodities and currencies chart on the channel. If you do want it, do comment it before before tomorrow morning session, of course, so that I'll upload these on the channel as well. So this is all that we had for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and honestly, thank you so much for all the support that you have been showing, all the love that you have been showing in the comment section. It really pushes us to do this every single day. Also, if you haven't already, please do subscribe. I think we do provide a value over here, so do like, share, subscribe as much as you can. If you think this is valuable, if you think the analysis adds value to your trading, feel free to share it in your groups as well. I hope you guys have a good green trading session tomorrow. As always, once again, if you want all these trades with the analysis, feel free to check out the Telegram channel @ApexFinServe. I hope you guys have a good night. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.